Hello, my name is Amy Thomas Davis. I'm here recording in Alabama. I had an experience yesterday morning actually with the Lord, January 2nd, and I just want to share it. I want to share what the Lord showed me. It has to do with this new day, this new time, this new season that we're in. Paul Keith and I have been sharing in the last several blogs for the last couple of months about how we have started a new day, not just because now it's 2020, but we feel that we're already well into this new day. In the dream that I had, I call it a dream. I might call it an encounter or an experience. It was very powerful, and it's hard to just say dreamed and actually describe the kind of things that were happening in this experience. Well, I was shown in this dream the new day in a different way. I was shown it like a show. There had been a previous show, and we were about to have this big reveal of a second show. And the second show is this powerful show. It was like if you were to imagine a Broadway performance, and there were curtains, and there were people watching. And this show was this big, fantastic reveal. But there were some things that needed to be done, things that were being taken care of before the show would begin. But the show will soon begin. I was shown that the second show will soon begin. And there were people in this dream, and there was one man, and I know he was representing the many of the other people that were there with him. And there was some preparation that was needed before this show. And the Lord is doing it. This is something that the Lord is doing. You see, I saw in this dream that these people, they've been very tired. You know, we've spoken before about this, there's this new zeal and a new excitement coming, and I'm continuing with that because there is a zeal coming, there is an excitement coming, but it's not the kind of zeal that is human zeal. This goes far beyond that. This is a desire, a true desire to continue to do the things of the kingdom. So in this, these people were very, very tired and very worn out, and it's like they had finished, as tired as you would be when you finish a race. But the Lord came. See, I was walking down the road, and I had the presence of the Lord with me, and I was asking him questions, and he was giving me answers. And I was asking questions that I didn't even know I wanted an answer to. I didn't even realize that I was questioning some of the things I was questioning. They were very personal. I'm not going to get into those personal questions, but there were people there, people that were very tired, like they had finished a race. And the Lord began to tell me, and he began to show me what he's doing. And I saw him just, these people getting an infusion of hope. An infusion, like injections of, it was more than an injection because it covered their entire body, their entire being, and went deep into their soul. And it was just what they needed to have strength, not just to finish a race, but it was the kind of strength and excitement that you have when you begin a race. There was not a zeal, but an excitement for the things of the kingdom. And they could then go and do this show, this necessary show that was going to take place. I wrote down when I woke up, before I finished the dream, I wrote down some thoughts when I woke up. And I'm going to read these, and I'm going to explain. I wrote this down in my journal. There is coming an injection of hope and excitement, different than human zeal. It's not immature. This will not be an immature lifetime. In the previous show, ignorance had been a veil. This new day will reveal maturity, a display of splendor, awe, and reverence. So here we have these people getting in just what they needed to go and for the second show to go on. This most exciting show that we've ever seen. You see, these people were the storytellers. They were telling his story. And I'm telling you this, the Lord's very protective of his story, and he's very protective of his storytellers. And these people were there, and it wasn't a performance, but it was a show. It was a demonstration. It was a display of splendor. It was a demonstration of what awe and reverence for the Most High God looks like. It was a demonstration and display of the mature. Oh, it was such a beautiful thing. Before the show began, I could see from the distance looking in at the show, but also I was a part of the show. But I could see that there were curtains, and the curtains were opening this way, and the curtains were opening this way. And in the front of the curtains was this big word in big, bold, fat letters that said ignorance. And as the curtains opened and the curtains moved away, and then the mature came. And that's where I felt when I wrote down in this, there's coming an injection of hope and excitement different than human zeal. It's not immature. This will not be an immature lifetime. In the previous show, ignorance had been a veil. See, the curtain written with ignorance, it had in the past been a veil. But this new day will reveal maturity, a display of splendor, awe, and reverence. But there's many people that are so tired and they're just so worn out that it's hard at the thought of another lifetime. It's hard at the thought of another show. Do I have the strength for another race? But there's coming this infusion. There's coming this injection. There's coming this where you're going to be so washed in the Word and so in His presence that you're going to be filled with everything that you need to not finish a race, but the strength that you have when you begin the race. And because this new show, it is a new beginning. It's something so beautiful that's going to take place. And I was brought to a couple scriptures. I don't have a lot of time to read them all, but I am going to read a few verses from Ephesians 4. It says, He gave some as apostles and prophets and evangelists and pastors and teachers for the equipping of the saints for the work of service, to the building up of the body of Christ, until we all attain to the unity of the faith and of the knowledge of the Son of God, to a mature man, to the measure of the stature which belongs to the fullness of Christ. As a result, we are no longer to be children, tossed here and there by waves and carried about by every wind of doctrine, by the trickery of men. Then it goes on down to say, So this I say and affirm together with the Lord, that you will walk no longer just as the Gentiles also walk, in the futility of their mind, being darkened in their understanding, excluded from the life of God because of the ignorance that's in them, because of the hardness of their heart. And they, having become callous, have given themselves over to sensuality for the practice of every kind of impurity with greediness. Then it goes on to say, but you lay aside the old self, because it's a new day. We're new characters in a new book. We're new characters in a new play. It's a new day. So we lay aside the old self, which has been corrupted in accordance with the lust of deceit. And we are now renewed in the spirit of our mind, and we put on the new self, which is the likeness of God, have been created in righteousness and holiness of the truth. Isn't that beautiful? We put on the new self, which is the likeness of God. I love that. So such a beautiful scripture, and I know we've mentioned this scripture so many times, but it just seems to keep reappearing. It comes back and it's woven into every dream and every word and every revelation. You see what came with these with this maturity, when the mature took the stage, when ignorance was no longer this veil, then maturity took the stage. There was something so incredible that took place because there was an authority they had that was unlike any authority that they walked in before. And that's what we get. We get now an authority unlike any authority we've ever walked in before. That's a powerful thing. And it's not authority for just the sake of authority. It's authority for the sake of doing the work of the kingdom. Wow, the mature get that. I wrote down some things that I felt from the Lord as I was throughout the last several weeks. You know, I've shared in previous blogs about how we're telling the story of when the day got brighter. Well, in this dream that I had yesterday morning, and there was the people watching as the curtains were moved and the people began to take the stage, and the other people were watching. The show that they were watching got brighter, and the show that they were watching got clearer. Wow, so they could actually see the work of the Lord. They could see that is God. There's something special about this story. There's something special about these storytellers. There's something special about what they carry. Oh, What a beautiful thing. And what I felt from the Lord was there was this new authority coming to the storytellers, those that are telling his story. And the authority comes from this place of reverence. It comes from the place of having been abiding with the Most High. And it comes for the overcomers. The overcomers will receive a greater authority. All of this happened. All of these people that had taken this stage, there was a unity and there was a connection that they had. There had been an abiding with the Lord. This authority comes from this place of abiding. And that's exciting to me, because nothing more beautiful than abiding with the Lord, nothing more beautiful than resting in him. It's something to go and stand in the presence of the Lord. And it's something to go and come to the place where there's just this awe and reverence for God. There's something about that, because not just because we get this authority to do things, but because he's a good God. And he's worthy of our praise. He's worthy of awe and reverence. And in this place where we finally say, oh, he's worthy of awe and reverence, there's a greater authority that happens, and we will have the authority to heal every disease, have the authority to bring comfort to people. We'll have the authority to stand up when in the past we maybe would have laid down, we would have given up, but now we have a strength and we have an endurance and we have an authority. I'm going to finish reading a little bit more about what I wrote down. I'm going to read on. In my notes, when I woke up from this experience, I wrote this down. The boundaries of their habitation are not just geographical locations, but an expansion of authority in the Spirit, given more space, room, which we call time, to tell his story, more room to demonstrate his wisdom, inspiring awe and reverence. It's not just the endurance you have in the end of a race, but the fresh strength you have at the beginning of the race. It's like that strength at the beginning of the race. So the boundaries of their habitation are not just geographical locations, but an expansion of authority in the Spirit, given more space, more room, which we call time, to tell his story. So in this dream, what I saw was these people that were tired. They didn't feel they had the strength to stand. They didn't feel they had authority. They didn't feel that they could even, they were really, Lord, help me to make it just one more day. But the Lord gave them something so special, something so beautiful, so they have what it takes for the next show to go on. There was something, a maturity that was happening. And it said, I wrote in my notes, the boundaries of their habitation are not just geographical locations, but an expansion of authority in the Spirit. So these people were concerned, there's only so much time left. How will I ever do in this short amount of time what I feel I'm destined to do? And I saw that time was not measured like on this timeline, but it was expanding. It was like we were given more room and more space to do what we needed to do, not like an end and then a beginning and an end here, but we were given more space to do what we needed to do. And that gave me great encouragement that the Lord's got this covered. You know, Acts 17 says this, he made from one man every nation of mankind to live on all the face of the earth, having determined their appointed times and the boundaries of their habitation. The boundaries of their habitation, those aren't only geographical locations, but they are an expansion of authority in the Spirit. And that's what's coming to a people. That's what's coming to his beloved, and an expansion of authority in the Spirit. So we can do the things that we know we're destined to do. So we can tell his story. So we can be strengthened to go on. Not just, oh my gosh, I can't make it another day, but wow, I have what it takes to do a whole nother show, a whole nother play. That's exciting for me. I want to read one more thing before I wrap this up. This is in 2 Samuel. It talks about the last words of David, and I just find them to be so powerful. that he is the same God yesterday, today, and forever. He's the same God. You know, he's high and lifted up. He is mighty. He's the author of our story. We get to tell his story. We get to be a demonstration, a display of splendor for all the world to see. We get to be the story of when the day gets brighter. We've been speaking in previous blogs about how there's there's going to be a demonstration of wisdom that makes the wisdom of the world look foolish. And that is, authority is one way that we will be demonstrating the wisdom of the Lord. We'll be moving in his great authority because we're coming into the place of maturity. We have to come to the place of maturity before the second show begins. I'm excited to be a part of that. I feel like, as many people do, wow, we have a long way to go. But in my dream, what I saw was in a moment, the Lord gave a people what they needed. In a moment, the Lord gave them just what was necessary for them to go on. In a moment, the Lord gave them everything they needed so that the show would begin. Everything they needed. David said these were the last words of David according to 2 Samuel 23, where it says, David, the son of Jesse, declares, the man who was raised on high declares, the anointed of the God of Jacob and the sweet psalmist of Israel. The Spirit of the Lord spoke by me, and his words were on my tongue. The God of Israel said, the Rock of Israel spoke to me. He who rules over men righteously, who rules in the fear of God, is at the light of the morning when the sun rises, a morning without clouds, when the tender grass springs out of the earth, through sunshine after rain. Truly is not my house so with God, for he has made an everlasting covenant with me, ordered in all things and secured for all my salvation and all my desire. Will he not indeed make it grow? I call these words of David, I call these words the song of a son. I feel like this is another picture of when the day got brighter, the old day gone, and the new day with its authority is here. We have a greater authority in this new day than we had in the last one. We went through some things, and we have a greater authority as we're coming in to a place of abiding more and more with the Lord. Abiding, that's our access to greater authority. Awe and reverence, they are access to greater authority. Being an overcomer is our access to greater authority. But when we get greater authority, what we really want is more awe and reverence, more abiding, and to continue to overcome. So I just bless you with this. It blessed me. Thank you for being patient while I tried to just describe somehow what I had experienced. I know I'll continue on and give more pieces of it as the Lord reveals more and more. And I just bless you, and I bless you in this new day. Just be strengthened in the name of the Lord. Amen.